And that's what I wanted to share in the book, to say you're not alone. Because I know for years I thought, oh my God, like I'm this weird person that doesn't want children, and everyone around me wanted them or had them. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, hang on, there's more than one. Oh, look, there's a few of us. And now it's close to 1 in 4 women.
Did you push record?
Thank you so much for tuning into our second act with Paige and Silka. Today we're continuing a conversation that we started a few months back about being child-free either by choice or by circumstance. And joining us today all the way from Brisbane, Australia is author Tanya Williams with her book, A Child-Free Happily Ever After. Tanya, welcome to Second Act TV.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited how you found us, quite frankly, especially all the way, you're more than halfway around the world, right? You win for being or having the furthest time difference. I believe it's 18 hours. Yay. We'll have to get some sort of reward for that. But you actually stumbled on the videos that we did a few months ago and contacted me. And of course, I'm intrigued by somebody who dedicated a whole book to this topic. Tell me, how were you motivated to do that? How did you get to write this book?
It sort of happened by accident, or I suppose quite organically. I wasn't planning on writing a book, certainly at this stage, about this subject. I had thought about it a number of years ago when I'd been interviewed by a local magazine, and there was a number of other women who had chosen to be child-free. That was probably about six years ago, I suppose. And I had thought about it at that point. I probably started to write, a couple of pages, and that's as far as it got. But it was really triggered by Facebook, funnily enough. A friend of mine had posted about parent parking. And it was really interesting to see the responses from people in regards to what they thought about parent parking, if it was right or wrong, and the passion behind the responses was unbelievable. Everyone had an opinion, whether it was for or against. And I went, wow, there's something to this. When it comes to the child conversation, people all have an opinion and they're very passionate about how they feel about it. And I went, maybe it's time to write a bit more about this topic and delve deep into it and look at how we can change that dialogue in society in particular, because I think there's a lot of negativity around it, and that needs to change. And we need to change that judgment and criticism of child-free women into something that's more supportive.
Yeah, well, exactly. And that, Paige and I came up with this topic because we both are child-free. She is childless because hers wasn't by choice. She wasn't able to have children. And that's a whole other topic. And we're not advocates necessarily for not having children. But if we know that we don't, then that should be our choice. And yes. I, of course, I'm older than you. I'm in my very late 50s. So I came up through a time when really women, and I think you did too. I think that really hasn't changed that much now that we've opened this conversation. But you're always explaining why, that like there's something wrong with you. So tell me what you found in the people you interviewed, and what sort of conclusions have you come to? Tell us about the book.
Look, I wanted to make sure the book had a really well-rounded conversation to it. I didn't want it to be all about just child-free women. It's not about bashing mums, so it's not mums versus non-mums. The theme throughout the book is what I call the C word, which is choice. So regardless of the choices that we make as women, it should be okay and it should be acceptable to our friends and family to stand by those choices and support us in those choices. So when I spoke to women, I wanted to make sure that I spoke to women like myself who were child-free. I spoke to women who were child-free by circumstance, so had issues falling pregnant for whatever reason. I spoke to mums who are happy mums, and I also spoke to a few mums who regretted their decision. So I really wanted it to be an overall conversation that, from all angles and get all perspectives. And it's really interesting to see throughout that research that I did and throughout the interviews that I did, it's not just child-free women that are being judged. So when I was talking to a few of the women, I had women say, I've got one child, and everyone wants to tell me that you can't have one child and that's not fair, and people were placing judgment around that. Women that had 5 children were saying, oh my God, I get it all the time where other women are telling me, how can you have 5 children, and that's selfish. So it was not just child-free, but it was really everybody was getting judged for their choices around children, how many they have or didn't have. And I think that is very wrong. And women are the worst offenders. So women are too busy to criticize and judge other women. And we need to stop that. It shouldn't be about, whether you have kids or don't have kids or have 5 or have 1 or however many. It should just be about, awesome, that's great for you, and be happy for the friends and the family that you have that make those life decisions. It's no one else's business.
Yeah. No, and you're right. Why is it anybody's business? And I know when we did 4 different videos, and we'll link to those, for people that didn't see it, but, with different perspectives, people that have, either by choice or circumstance. And at first we didn't get any reactions like, I really thought that this was going to be more interest here. Then all of a sudden, as the Google search kicked in and all that, it started growing. And I too was just amazed by the passion and the criticism and the extreme emotions on both sides. And I don't know why that is.
It baffles me as well, because I think, why do you get so emotional and upset about a decision that someone else has made for their life when it doesn't impact you at all? And, one of the women that I spoke to in the book said that she had this total stranger actually wanted to meet her for a coffee and all this sort of stuff, trying to change her mind and saying, but you're so wrong about this and and she was like, who are you? I've never met you before. And here you are. He was literally preaching to her about her decision. And she was like, how does it impact you? It impacts you in no way whatsoever. So why can't you just let me be me and you be you? And that's the voice that I wanted to bring to this book. It is about the C word. It's about the choices that we make that are right for us as individuals and us as women. And I'm very much always been pro-choice. I don't think anyone should be able to tell a woman what they can and can't do with her body or with her life. And, and this, part of that conversation, and I still, even to this day after writing the book, still don't quite understand why the society, news, the people around us, media want to have so much say about the choices that we're making. And it has to change.
What will people take away from this book if you're trying to make the decision, or depending on what stage they're in that decision they are? Maybe it's too late already, or they're in the process. What?
The book is basically broken up into 2 areas. So the first part of the book talks about, why we feel the pressure, the choices that we have, and where we've come to, I suppose, so far from the days that sort of man came to be on this earth to where we are now. And so it looks at, a whole heap of influences that we've had growing up from the fairy tales that we read as children to how we're educated and taught in schools, the conversations that are happening around us, all of those types of things that influence how we feel. I even speak about the biological clock. The biological clock isn't actually a real thing. So it was interesting doing the research on that, and that doesn't negate the fact that, yes, people feel that urge to have children. That is not what I'm saying at all. It's simply saying that it was actually, they've scientifically proven that it is not an actual thing as such. So I talk about that and all those types of things. And then the second half of the book is really about, if you're not sure, here's some ways to try and help you figure out if it's for you or not. So there's some exercises in there on how you can figure it out for yourself. We look at other things that might be fulfilling for you. So things like, I choose puppies over parenthood. So you might choose puppies, career, business, travel, giving back through charity, or whatever it is that you choose for your life. So it's about saying, well, yes, certainly being a parent can be very fulfilling, and that's what some people want, and that's what they've always felt the need to do. But on the other hand, it's okay to say, well, you know what, I don't find that fulfilling. That's not what I want for my life. These are the sorts of decisions that I want. So the book is really like a field guide, I suppose, a bit of an anthropological study that helps women understand why we feel the pressure and how we can actually deal with that pressure, and how we can come to make those decisions ourselves.
Well, it's certainly a very important topic. There are people, as we're finding out, struggling with this, everywhere.
I really love hearing other women's stories around this, because we all have a different story. I can sit and listen to people's stories all day. That just makes me feel great. And that's what I wanted to share in the book, to say, you're not alone. Because I know for years I thought, oh my God, I'm this weird person that doesn't want children, and everyone around me wanted them or had them. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, hang on, there's more than one. Oh, look, there's a few of us. And now it's close to 1 in 4 women. So it really has become, I don't like to use the word movement, but I think women are now saying, hang on a minute, I want something different with my life. And I think that's the great thing, is women are becoming more confident to be able to do that. And I want this book to say to them, it's okay. You can play by your own rules and make your own rules. That's, it's your life. You only have one of them. And this isn't a dress rehearsal. You need to do what's right for you.
It's definitely time to stop the judgment. It is absolutely time to stop the judgment.
Yeah.
And Tanya, I thank you for writing this book. I thank you for reaching out to us. It also, confirms that we were on the right track. And I want to stay.
Well, I actually came across you guys when I was researching for the book. So that was really interesting. So some of the stuff that you guys were doing, I was like, oh my God, these guys are talking about this subject. So hence why I reached out. So, good old digital technology, and Google's working for you.
Well, we want to talk to you more. I'd like to hear how the book is doing and what sort of feedback you've gotten. So let's do another segment in a few weeks or months or something. Let's stay in touch. I will, of course, link to all of your information, to the Amazon link to your website, so anybody can get a hold of you who would like to. And we'll see you soon, I hope, again on another episode of Our Second Act with Paige and Silka.
Excellent. And there's the book.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. It's been great to chat, and I look forward to checking in again.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for joining us and helping us to continue this important conversation. For more videos on Childfree by choice or circumstance, I've posted a link right next to me. And you can visit our website, secondact.tv. And if you haven't already done so, please take just 1 second and subscribe to our channel. Button's right over here. Thank you.